ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week. Good friend and colleague, Mr. Tyler Wyatt, at Tyler Wyatt Bets. Go follow him on the X and at Odds Culture as we get him for about 15 minutes before he goes live radio spot in Knoxville. Talk some college football. So what he saw last weekend, especially the public went 0-5, by the way, go figure. And then some big games, of course, this week. But first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsors and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. And of course, AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Steaks, seafood, chops, appetizers, wine. Terry's got it all. Go order today. You could be grilling as early as Sunday. So without further ado, Mr. Tyler Wyatt. What's up,
happening? What's happening, JD?
A week is settled. Not, the introduction. You saw a week of football. Public goes 0-5. Arch, people now think he's going to play in the CFL, of course. Did see 550,000 bet at Circa on Texas plus 1.5, and they went to -1 there. I just couldn't get anything done there. Upsets galore, of course. LSU, Brian Kelly, I'm a big Nussmeier fan. They go into Clemson and Dabo, take care of business there. The biggest shocker is not that Alabama lost as 13.5-point favorites. It's how they lost. The no sense of urgency. Now, play Monday morning quarterback here. A 2-10 Florida State team. A sense of urgency, a sense of pride, a chip on their shoulder. A veteran quarterback with Castellanos. I mean, Jesus, how could you not like Florida State in the money line? I'm being sarcastic here. What'd your eyes see last weekend?
Yeah, Boise State one, I think, a team to include in the biggest surprises there, in the lead up to Saturday. Texas, the disappointment that I've heard from national sports media with Arch is kind of laughable, but it's one game's not going to define the kid's career or season for that matter. It was going to be a tough road game. What'd you expect? Arch was going to go to Columbus and throw for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, was that ever like in the script? I know there's scripts going around, or at least rumored to be going around, where we know everything. Was that like no? That was never in any of the scripts that got trashed. Maybe the initial one, but that game never felt like it was going to be a quarterback duel where they both were, over 300 yards and, multiple touchdowns. I felt that was going to be a defensive game. The model was pretty in line with the total. I personally liked under. Didn't, I don't say only invest in plays that, that the model that I've spent, years and years, helping develop with a team of guys. But every now and then I just get a wild hair and like to gamble. That was a game I thought was just going to be a defensive effort. But yeah, there were a number of teams. I think Alabama's lack of production on both sides of the football is really what scared me. We knew there was going to be questions around the quarterback. Simpson, highly touted, was a coveted prospect coming out of high school, the transfer, but he was expected to come in and, he was given a chance there to start game one. I didn't think the defense was going to be as bad as they were. I thought the defense was going to be pretty good to start. Typically, that's how the season, at least in the early part, goes. Defense, especially if you have a defense that returns any number of production, you're like, all right, I have a pretty good idea what we're going to get here. Alabama was lost all over. I mean, special teams, defense, offense, and maybe more importantly than all of that is coaching. Kalen DeBoer, and I've been high on Kalen DeBoer, so I'm happy to, at least after the first week, try to choke down some crow. Kalen DeBoer and that coaching staff looked lost. There was most losses you can look back on and take something as a positive or something that might help you. It's very hard to look at that game and take anything into week two. That's just one of those that you have to try to wipe the slate and start completely over. But that was, I think, Alabama's total performance was the one that stood out the most for me. It was a Florida State team. Castellanos, I need to get in touch with this kid through social media or find an address, because I need to send him one hell of a Christmas or birthday basket. He's won me so much money at Boston College that it's ridiculous. Been high on him. I was high on him. The model did like Alabama, so the model was absolutely wrong. I don't mind, admitting when I am wrong. But I've always been a fan of Tommy Castellanos. The fact that he said what he said with Saban not going to be there to save him, I like that. The moxie, the confidence, the change in offensive coordinator for Norvell. This looks like a Florida State team that's going to be okay offensively. Defensively, if they can improve from here, over the next couple of weeks, this could be a team that, was a cellar dweller, obviously last year and not expected to do a ton of really good things this year. They could be one of those sneaky teams that, find themselves in a chance to compete in the conference with Clemson and Louisville. I'm not going to say that this is a team that's a potential playoff team just yet, but if they play like they did last week against Alabama going forward, this is a Florida State team that went from, the doormat to a potential roadblock, in just one game. And, I think a lot of that is attributed to the confidence that Tommy Castellanos has brought to that locker room.
Well, it's funny because now you look at an ACC league here, which most people had Clemson on top. I still think Clemson will be fine. Klubnik will be fine. I'm not worried there. But now, the sleeper there, Louisville, a lot of sharps and experts like the Georgia Tech side. Miami beats Notre Dame. Florida State is back. And you talked about, the bads of the week, Alabama, Boise State. And we might as well just pile on for a minute here. Bill Belichick and UNC took the cake.
That was a really great opening drive, and then there was nothing to talk about the rest of that game. That was a team with somewhere between 60 and 70 new faces, very little production returning. I guess you had a quarterback who had some experience, and I think who has a lot of upside, but returning from a nasty injury. It was just a team that you were hoping that the coach, if you were backing North Carolina, that Bill Belichick was just going to come with, that the 6 Super Bowls would somehow change the outcome against in a college game. TCU was, the better team. Hoover was a better quarterback. That was one of those performances that you want to forget also. It's a North Carolina team I didn't have a ton of expectations for, regardless of who the coach was going to be. But this is not a North Carolina team that I looked at, going into last week and thought, they're capable of winning 8 or 9 games. This is a team I thought that would struggle to reach a bowl. 6 wins, I think, was make a bowl in year one. Bill Belichick's not going to be happy with that. But I think as, an outsider looking in, I think 6-6 for year one with that North Carolina roster and what he had to do to try to put it together, I think, you couldn't be too disappointed with. That was an ugly performance. TCU is going to be a good team. I don't know that that's really the way that they dominated North Carolina is, I didn't shoot TCU up the power ratings. Clemson, I moved down. Clemson comes in outside the top 15 in my power rating this week, so I moved them considerably. But yeah, the North Carolina loss, Bill Belichick, a lot of pressure, obviously, a lot of media attention and focus just because of the name and that. But yeah, I mean, we're not hearing we're talking about Belichick and the struggles, but if North Carolina loses this week, and we're not going to talk about North Carolina and Bill Belichick in weeks 4, 5, and 6 this season. They'll be an afterthought. If they rally and get an impressive win here this week and then pull off a couple in a row, they'll be there because of the name that's attached. But yeah, that was a week 1 performance that I think Bill Belichick will absolutely want to forget.
The difference between this week in college football and the NFL, I can't explain this enough to people watching and listening. The NFL numbers, week 1, tonight, Dallas, Philly, tomorrow, Kansas City and the Chargers from Brazil, and then, of course, Sunday and Monday night games. Those numbers have been out for 3 months. It's the 20-pound butterball. It's the, leave it at the landfill, come back a week later, and it's the carcass. Well, these numbers have been picked through for 3 months now. So anyone diving in this week to the NFL and expecting to make millions, God bless you. I got 2 bridges, the Bourne and the Sagamore, for sale if you want to DM me right now, and we can talk after that. My point is, now we're finally on an even playing field in college football. We now have numbers where they only have 6 days to prepare. So we have data and fresh numbers to pick and choose from. The hardest part for most people is we remember what we saw last. So we have you for about 7 more minutes before you got to go live in Knoxville. Give us your card. Give us your thought process. Excuse me, going into this week's games.
Yeah, so tweet out the card every week. It's normally after I've picked through, after I've put in all of the information that I need from it. It's then I tweet it out, but it's very easy to follow. It's tweeted and posted, pinned there to the Twitter profile. There is no Thursday or there's no Thursday night game. There is no early game pick. First game that we see there. Baylor and SMU, that number opened 4, dropped to 2.5. The model likes SMU. Have SMU at 8.4. And there's about 36 plays, so we'll just touch on a couple of the big ones. Kansas and Missouri. This is a game that I really, really like, and one that the model also supports. So normally when I take out when I just look at it from Tyler's point of view, and then I see what the model says. When I agree with the model, typically I get pretty excited about that. It's a Kansas team with Daniels at quarterback. He threw an ugly interception in the red zone last week, but he was 18 of 25 against Wagner, so I'm not trying to butter him up too much. But his completion percentage dropped. Against Fresno State, he was 90%. The kid is extremely efficient. Last season, he did turn the ball over, but I think this is a year where he can really take a step and right some wrongs from last season. This is a Kansas team that I love. It's a Missouri team that has a lot of new faces at quarterback. There was a quarterback battle we thought last week. They stuck with one. I thought we might see split reps there. It was against a Central Arkansas team where Missouri could have ran the football every play and won by 50. But the model here is about 3 points off of where Circa opened that number. That number opened at 6.5. Saw it go to 6, but 6.5 and 6 both on the board. We have Missouri 3.8. So we played Kansas there plus the 6.5. Navy was a number that opened at 19, went up. So this was a loss in CLV, but we have 13.9 in that one. So we're backers in UAB at 19. We took the opener and then we played it again at 21. West Virginia, Ohio total. Circa opened that one at 3 and 59. Saw it go to 60. Our number on the game was 55.8. Played under in that game. Arkansas at home against Butch Jones and Arkansas State. The number opened at circa 22.64.5. Saw it go to 23.5. Our number on the game is 18. So we're backers in Butch Jones and Arkansas State. You mentioned North Carolina. That number opening at 12.5 goes to 13.5. Our number is 19.8 on the road, I guess, technically against Charlotte there. So the model does believe that North Carolina almost a touchdown over where the market opened that one. Western Kentucky, Toledo, 5.5-point favorite, and total open 59.5 at Circa. Saw it go to 7 and 60. Our total in the game 53.2, both the opener and 70. And then we have Vanderbilt at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech looking for last season. Vanderbilt with a big upset win. They go to Blacksburg. Virginia Tech opened a pick and 47.5. I've got Virginia Tech 4.7. It's playing Virginia Tech to get a win at home against Vanderbilt. And then a couple there. Sam Houston, Hawaii. Hawaii opened a 10-point favorite, saw it drop to 7. Our number on the game was 3.8. So coming down towards where we had that one, we were players at plus 10. I think Sam Houston is still playable to 7. So backers in Sam Houston plus 7. And then BYU opened at Circa at 19, saw it go to 21. Our opener on that one was 23.4. We also have a play in the total. Total opened at 48, and it did drop to 46 at Circa. Our total on the game was 53.3, so we played both BYU and over in that game. And then last play there, UNLV at home against UCLA. The model did like UCLA against Utah last week. Nico, UCLA, that team looked really, really out of sync. A lot of moving pieces there, new coaches, new quarterback, new receiver, new everything for UCLA. They go to Vegas. This is a UNLV team that the model is pretty high on. Circa opened UCLA 2. We saw it go to UCLA 3. We got the other team favored. Got UNLV almost 3. So big play for us there. Back in UNLV at home. I think they're an outright winner as a 3-point underdog. So still probably 15 or 16 more plays there on the profile, but yeah, just to go down there and highlight on just a couple of.
I have to ask you this before I let you go. Big game, Oklahoma, Michigan. I think Oklahoma, Venable are going to be a team to reckon with. I had their team total over last week, came up short. There, a couple drives stalled, and they were just playing grab ass. And shame on me, maybe looking ahead to Michigan here. How does their offense match up against Michigan's defense?
This is a game obviously in Oklahoma. There's a reason that Circa opened them a 5.5-point favorite, though. The model disagrees with the number. We have this one. I had this one essentially a pick. So we're backers in Michigan plus the points on the road there. So Oklahoma team looked very, very solid. Mateer at quarterback in the opener. It's a Michigan offense that was, they were fine. Underwood looked okay. It's one game. It's a very tiny sample size, so it's really hard to take a ton from that. I do think that the Michigan offense will improve this week. Defensively, I think they'll be okay. Don't expect this to be a super exciting game. Totals, projected total, we have 47.7, right in line with where Circa opened at 47.5, and we saw it drop to 45.5. It looks like looking at the odds screen. So expected the game to be there in the mid-20s. But yeah, I don't think Oklahoma deserves to be over a field goal. Personally, I thought that one should have been some. This is one I looked at, and then typically I'll go through and fill out the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season and just handicap a game myself without looking at a power rating. I had this one 2.5, looking at it just eyes. I thought this would be right around the field goal. I said, surely maybe they won't open 2.5 because, Oklahoma's at home. They probably stick 3, or maybe, may make you pay juice one way or the other, or it goes to 3.5. I didn't think 5 or 5.5 was a number that I had. And then the model came and it was, right around a pick. So I was, happy to see that my personal thoughts were closer to where the model, or where my computer number said than where the bookmaker saw. So happy to take a position there. Could obviously be wrong, but we'll look and see. A couple more days, the numbers will move a little bit in some of those games. You mentioned market efficiencies. The NFL, I had a buddy ask, "Do you think this NFL game will get to this number?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, why not?" I was like, "Because you've had 2.5 months." I said, the moving's out. There's no movement left. I said, next week, when the numbers open on Sunday night for the following week, there'll be a little bit of movement there in, the overnight and the early week, midweek maybe. But yeah, the movement in the opening games for the NFL, no, that's gone. If you don't like it now, don't look for a move to play, or those numbers are where they're going to be.
Tyler Wyatt, go follow him at Tyler Wyatt Bets at Odds Culture. Have an amazing weekend. You got a hit coming up in 30 seconds. We'll talk soon.
Hey, appreciate you. See you next week, JD.
Take care. Tyler Wyatt, go follow him, of course, at Tyler Wyatt Bets at the Odds Culture. Couple quick commercial breaks. Hopefully when we come back, Matt Grissom. Stay tuned.
Jared, hey, we're going to need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of this stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
It's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Well, he has arrived. He must be fresh from the powder room, or I don't know, on the phone with an agent. Let's bring him in, Mr. Matt Grissom.
Hello,
Matt.
Jeffrey.
Survive in advance, 5-2 opening week. Talk about last weekend.
Yeah, I'll take it. Really just one pick that I thought we were way off the mark on for that contest. Texas. I mean, and then if you look at Parker Fleming's success rate, like, did we really get beat that bad? It actually wasn't that bad. The other one was Georgia didn't cover the 44 or 39 against Marshall. They won 45-7. So damn you, Kirby Smart, for letting your defense not pitch a shutout. Other than that, 5 good wins. I wish I would have bet more on Florida State, though. I had a very strong opinion, as you know, if you watch the show, going into it. Just kept that at a standard 1-unit play. I don't really like tiering my units, but there's some that are worth it, and I probably should have been a little heavier on Florida State.
Well, listen, we can play Monday morning quarterback 5-2. I think there was 4 or 5 people that started 7-0, and anyone watching and listening new here, we're talking about the Westgate contest where Matt is a part of. You pick 7 games each week against a spread, a huge field. The Golden Nugget used to have the college contest. Westgate picking up the chains and moving the chains here. Big return to start this season. Hats off to them. We start this segment, SEC weekly, but again, we're going to focus on each week Matt's selections, or at least his thought process as he's getting ready for these games. I was working the BC game against Fordham. I think it was 66-7 or something, some snoozer we were at. But I was following the Texas game on the phone, and of course, grab ass the whole first half. But when they didn't punch it in to tie the game 7-7, right then I said to myself, "Up, game's over." Thursday night, someone walked to the circle window. Good morning to Mr. Benson and Mr. Stevens with a bag of $550,000. Bet on Texas +1 or 1.5. They flipped it to Texas -1. And a book that size, listen, they're able to do that because the 550 they just took on Texas, by kickoff on Saturday, they got more than 550,000 back on Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, and Derek, I just saw that he just crossed over the Survivor. I think it was like 23.5 million. So congratulations to him. Really, really good at what they do over there. But yeah, I mean, Derek, that in my opinion is the sharpest book. So when you see line movement, just track where they're at on their number. But I think as far as the game goes, Arch looked very average. He looked like kind of the problem with him coming in. He played for a Division II team, a 2A high school team. So his opponents were not very good. And he got to pad his stats. Now he's in. He looked better last year, I feel like, in garbage time and coming in for whenever Quinn Ewers went out. But overall, I think Texas is fine. They've got to clean up Arch's mechanics. The whole throwing off your back foot. He missed so many wide receivers. I even had to make the joke on Twitter. I can't remember if it was 5, 6, 7 little throws that would have picked up the first down on a drag route to a wide open receiver across the middle. Everybody says he had to go on the road and play Ohio State and that really good defense. That wasn't Ohio State. Me and you can get out in the front yard and throw a 5-yard drag and complete it. Like that's practice, man. That defense had no pressure on him. He missed it. They ended up going for it on 4th down, and that's when they ultimately lost the game on that last drag. So it was more frustrating than anything. I think they'll be fine. Sark needs to spice up that playbook. It looked very bland. But, it's week 1. Let's not overreact. Texas is still probably a top 5 team.
I want to say this, okay? Like the books that have put out the numbers for 3 months, okay? We talk about overreaction. I mean, we could talk about overreaction to a lot of teams. Boise State, North Carolina, Clemson losing at home, of course, Alabama. But here's my point on this. Ohio State was gifted the opportunity for 3 months to formulate a defensive plan against Arch Manning. And they also added Matt Patricia, who I'm not calling the next thing to, the best defensive coach. My point is they had 3 months. Now it's an even playing field. Everyone that plays Texas moving forward only has 6 or 7 days. And you are right. Back foot, sidearm flicks. I thought I was watching a young Patrick Mahomes almost. I'm like, Arch, what the hell are you doing here? I mean, it looked awful. I think we'll see a different Arch Manning moving forward. We'll see a different Cade Klubnik moving forward with only a week to prepare versus 3 months to prepare, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think Cade really had like a terrible game. He just LSU and the post game back and forth was kind of funny between Brian Kelly and Dabo, but people probably thought, okay, you've got 2 really good quarterbacks coming into this game. LSU, most notably, not great on defense in the Brian Kelly era, which who has to be when you've had Jaden Daniels at quarterback and you can score 56 points a game. But not a lot of fireworks, but Brian Kelly hit the nail on the head. I mean, they pitched a 14-0 shutout in the second half. So when he said, I don't know what he was watching in the second half, maybe he stopped watching, but we kicked their ass. I think LSU did. I think LSU is, which that was one of my plays, but not to harp on that because nobody cares what I go in the contest. But I mean, I think LSU is really good. I think LSU is probably at this point, dare I say, the best team in the SEC. But we'll see about Georgia.
Last question about last week. Are you worried or starting to get worried with Coach DeBoer?
I'm going to try not to overreact because I thought that was coming. They walked into a buzzsaw, a pissed off Florida State team with a really good quarterback that always tends to play with a chip on his shoulder, kind of like a Johnny Manziel, who also notably beat Alabama. But I think they're fine. Whenever the lines came out and I saw Louisiana Monroe was plus 36.5 or something this week, I'm like, all right, let's fade Alabama again. But are we really going to be surprised if Alabama doesn't go out and whoop ass 56-14? Like, good morning, good afternoon, good night. See you later. We're back. We're fine. I'm just not sold on Ty Simpson. And that's a lot of my handicapping is going to go surrounding a quarterback. But Alabama just didn't look like they were a very good team. And I know Kalen DeBoer gets a lot of credit for Michael Penix Jr., who, remember, I think was on his third school by the time he made it to Kalen DeBoer. But what they did was undeniably great, like good job. But that may have been more of a one-off, kind of like the Texas A&M going and hiring Jimbo Fisher because, he did it at Florida State. He can come do it with better equipment, better players, better everything. And then it just doesn't work out. So maybe Kalen DeBoer is, a 10-2 coach, 9-3 average, and that's not going to be good enough for Alabama fans, though.
And a few of my Alabama colleagues reached out to me, and then of cursing, of course, Coach DeBoer. And the funny thing is, I was like, listen, you can bring Bear Bryant back from the dead. Nick Saban is not walking through that door. Maybe you nailed it. Maybe you're looking at a lot of 9-3, 8-4 years, and it all coincides with the nil and the transfer portal. Maybe the SEC isn't now the SEC what it used to be because everyone is on the same playing field. But that's enough for that for now.
Well, and I think that's what I said last week is I don't really think that there is that dominant of a team in college football anymore, especially in the SEC. Like, yeah, Georgia, they're going to probably win 10 or 11 games, but I mean, Gunnar Stockton, he's not going to be out there lighting up scoreboards. Garrett Nussmeier and LSU, that's why I think he's probably your Heisman winner. And I think Arch may get it figured out, but I think Texas is still probably a 9-3, 10-2 team. I just don't. I think everybody is beatable. Even Ohio State, who came in, you play the number one team at home. You've had all offseason to prepare for this. Ryan Day needs his big win. He gets it. But then you look back and it's like, was Ohio State that good? Or did Texas just shoot themselves in the foot on offense? Because I'm going latter. I don't think Julian Sayin was great. I know Texas's defense is really good, but Ohio State, I mean, the receiver, not Ryan Williams, but the other, what's his name? I can't think. The top receiver for Ohio State. He had
Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah, Jeremiah Smith. He had 3 or 4 drops. They just looked uncharacteristic. And I'm not saying that they won't clean it up, but I just don't think Ohio State is like, they're the best team. They're the best team in college football. I think there's maybe like 5 best teams in college football right now. And you put those and you lump them together over in tier 1 and you just let the season play out. And at the end of the year, it's probably going to be 2 of the tier 1 teams that are in the national championship.
And I was a Nussmeier fan last year. I have a ticket for him to win the Heisman, but there's a million other players to watch. Hats off to Brian Kelly finally getting off the schneid, of course, in week 1. It's going to be a great, great season. Shout out to Billy Hewlin. Says, good morning, Jeffrey. Roll Tide. Big Tide fan. Plenty of wins coming, Billy. You know that. So buckle up and enjoy the ride. Before we get to your thought process on your card this week, you got to have a few minutes to talk about your Razorbacks.
Yeah, Taylor Green looked good. He did everything that we were expecting him to do in week 1 against Alabama A&M. A little concerned that Alabama A&M walked right down the field on that opening drive, but then we didn't let them get in the end zone again. And that, to me, spells like some promise with the defense. I know defensively we're not going to be great, but that year 2 progression with a year 2 quarterback under Bobby Petrino with Taylor Green has always jumped up in scoring. You know, Lamar Jackson won the Heisman his second year under a Petrino offense. I'm not saying Taylor Green's going to go win the Heisman, but the track record's there with Lamar Jackson, Ryan Mallett, rest in peace, Tyler Wilson. This offense is going to be great. The defense is the question mark. Taylor over 340 yards, 6 touchdowns. But we play for the first time ever. We play in-state Arkansas State. And a lot of people have been wanting this game to happen. I'm of the opinion that this game only benefits Arkansas State. You don't play this game because you have everything to lose. You're a 23.5-point dog. Jalen Rayner, the quarterback for Arkansas State, is extremely accurate. He's mobile, but he doesn't run a whole lot. He can step up in the pocket. If Arkansas's defense sleeps a little bit on this matchup, I feel like Arkansas State's going to be able to play it close. And I heard Tyler say that their model makes it 18. Ours also makes it 18. That scares me. That was actually one of the first bets I made this week. Arkansas State plus 23.5. But I doubled down on the under 63, under 63.5, whatever you can get that at. I don't really see either team scoring a ton, although the offenses are good. I think this game either goes one of two ways. Either it's going to be like a 34-14 Arkansas drumming, or it's going to be like a 28-24 really tight game that is going to come down to whose defense can stop somebody in the fourth quarter, which ultimately I think Arkansas has the manpower to do that. So I can't see a 42-38 type game for Arkansas State and Arkansas.
Week number 2, Westgate Contest, cards out. What are you saying?
I really leaned heavily on our model that I've been working on with EPA and success rate and all this stuff that I'm still trying to figure out. It's been a lot of fun. You know, we did it with Parker Fleming last year. We had our College Football Insiders website up, just kind of picking their brains and trying to formulate my own model similar to the one we built for College Baseball Insiders. But the first thing that jumped off the board, I thought Syracuse, Michigan, SMU. Those were the first 3 that I wrote down. And those are the ones that I can kind of get into. So SMU, I really like this team. I think 2.5 against Baylor is doable. Baylor, I don't know if Auburn was that good last week. I know they beat them 38-24.
I needed one more score on the team total. I had, of course, Baylor team total over.
Yeah, the quarterback for Baylor is good, but I think Kevin Jennings is a little bit better, especially with Rhett Lashley in there at SMU. So give me SMU minus 2.5 at home. And then the other one was Syracuse. I thought Syracuse played well against Tennessee. I think the Tennessee blowout win, so to speak, it was 45-26, but still, like, we know Josh Heupel's offenses are going to be able to put up points. The fact that Syracuse kind of fought back after going down 17-0 in the first quarter, like, that showed me a lot. I didn't drop Syracuse in my power ratings. I just bumped Tennessee. I think Syracuse still got a good team, and your UConn Huskies, I don't know. most notably not known for football. Can I say that? And
Yep,
not get
yes,
kicked
you
off the
can.
show? -6.5. Syracuse beating UConn. Our model makes it 9.5. So I like that one. And then the other one I got to Michigan +5. I think Michigan's got a quarterback. I think they're going to be just fine. We know this is going to be a defensive game, but I actually lean over in this one also. I think both quarterbacks have a lot to prove, and both are going to be able to move the ball early on scripted drives. So maybe look at a first quarter or a first half over as well.
I did have Tennessee team total over, so I was able to recoup
I feel
the
like
Baylor.
that's pretty automatic with Heupel's teams.
It is. Shh, don't tell anyone. That's 3. I know you need 7. Are there games that you haven't formulated that you're keeping an eye on?
Yeah, I'm looking at Jacksonville State +6.5 over Liberty. This Jacksonville State team, the numbers aren't flashy, but I think they could cover that. I'd rather get 7.5. Who wouldn't? And then the other one was Washington State -1.5. And this is a team that they barely beat Idaho 13-10. It was bad, but San Diego State, I think they beat their Stony Brook opponent 42-0. So you may be saying, Matt, how can you bind to Washington State -1.5? They barely beat Idaho. I don't know, but the model likes it a lot. So we're going to roll it out there and see. Probably going to go with the Cougs there. And then another one that is really just staring at me in the face, Ohio +3.5. I think you're going to get a lot of public bettors take West Virginia because they're going to look at the scores last week. And keep in mind, Parker Navarro and Ohio, they lost to a Rutgers team who I actually think is pretty good this year. So don't shy away from the Bobcats at home just because West Virginia put up whatever it was against a weaker opponent. I think that's 6 now. And the last one I'm going to round out with Rutgers. I think laying, 15.5 over Miami, Ohio. I think Rutgers is really good. I think they'll be able to pour it on.
Well, again, you got time. We congrats on a nice 5-2 win to start the year. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Again, every win is huge. Every loss is we take a look back why we lost, how we lost, and we move on to the following week. Everyone knows, of course, Matt, on X to follow you at Grissom on X, NCAA Insiders. Tell them what you got going on there, sir.
Yeah, just working. Nick and Smitty are doing a lot of college football stuff. I'm sticking to the SEC and trying to build out this model for the Westgate College Football Contest. So if you want to hang out with me and talk college football, you can catch me every Thursday right here on Jeff's show. That's for the time being. That's going to be the only place until Nick invites me to do a show on Friday. But I'm just joking. We'll get on the same page and do something for that. But right now, I'm just having a lot of fun handicapping it and having some success. I think total bets last week. Let me just see where we were at. I was very pleased with week 0 and week 1 through here. We have 5 losses, 6, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and 5 through week 0, week 1 bets on this model.
Well, keep up the great work as always. Tomorrow, 11 a.m., Nick Hathcote, another part of the NCAA Insiders, will be here talking about the Notre Dame loss to Miami. Will they bounce back? Last year they won opening day in Texas A&M. I got to bring back week 2 to him because they were 28.5-point favorites to Northern Illinois, and they lost outright and didn't lose again till the championship game.
Tread lightly. He was big mad because I was on Miami, and so naturally I had to talk my talk.
Well, the
Talk
funny
to him
thing
about that catch. He said that
well-
was the luckiest catch. I said, actually, Carson Beck was getting dragged to the ground. The fact that he threw it on his way down off his back foot and put it in the only place that his receiver could make a play, and the fact that the Notre Dame DB just sat there and looked at it, waiting. I thought that was a hell of a throw. How about Carson Beck? Don't play the victim mentality. You move to Miami to chase a Cavender twin. You'll drive a Lamborghini Urus. You're fine. Nobody counted you out. But
well,
thought he played well.
The funny is this, as you would know or understand, is the fact that we had Miami team total under 23.5. So it's 7-7 going into the half, which we definitely would have taken 0-0, by the way, after one. And that was the catch of the year. That was the catch of the century. And of course, once it was 14-7 and you're chasing 10 points, it was thanks for playing. I knew at halftime that bet was a loss. Like Florida State, Miami, I don't want to say took it to Notre Dame because they have one of the best backs in the country or backfields in the country. It's a loss early in the season that they were accustomed to last year. But again, the Florida teams, whether you're talking South Florida, Florida Gators, Miami, Florida State, they all, if we just bet the 4 Florida teams last week, we would have been 4-0.
Yeah. Yeah, Miami, Florida State both look good. I think college football is better when Florida State, Miami, Florida are all good at football. Because then you got a great blend of Alabama, LSU, Florida. Then you bring in the old Ohio State, Michigan. It's good. It's good balance across the country.
Well, I am leaving next Wednesday morning, 7:05 a.m. Wheels up. I'll be heading to Panama City Beach, Florida, for a food truck festival with Anthony Pepe and Food Truck Festivals of America on Saturday. I won't be back to Boston till late Sunday night. But Matt, I will reach out to you. Maybe we can squeak it in early, or if I get my marching orders Thursday, maybe we can squeak a Thursday afternoon in live from Florida. How's that?
Sounds good.
From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Mr. Matthew Grissom at Grissom on X. We wish everyone a blessed day. Enjoy yourselves. Stay tuned. 9 a.m. tomorrow, me and Scotty Webb will be back. And then, of course, 11 a.m., Nick Hathcote and Matthew George. Stay tuned.